Letting in the truth about the harm that we've caused is a hard thing to let in. One of the first things that we might do is to just notice the effect in our body right now. When we are looking at and looking into the climate emergencies, looking into our part in that, we're looking into maybe our distant ancestors or maybe our not so distant ancestors and their part in that. And we can also look at our own. None of us here are at the top of the heap in terms of privilege. And yet we all have some ways in which we are privileged, or we wouldn't have computers and access to this kind of thing. We also have an interest in and a capacity for being connected and for seeing the truth. And we know that because we're here. And part of what happens when we really tune into the environmental damage that's happened as an example, and then we broaden that view to see the intersectionality of racism, the genocide of Indigenous people, gender oppression, all of these different ways that this interacts. It can feel like it's too big to even let it in. We don't want to protect ourselves from letting it in because then we're going to continue to do what we've always done. And it's really clear that we can't continue to do that. So let's just breathe with that for a moment. Just notice, what does that feel like? We talk about fight, flight, freeze. It's really easy to feel overwhelmed. And it's really easy to go into a shame storm. Why didn't I see this before? What's the matter with me that I just kept going along like everything was fine, and actually it's not? So the inner critic often gets pretty active in shaming us. So let's take this kind of one at a time. So notice what's happening in your physical body. Notice if you could relax your shoulders, unclench your teeth, take some deeper breaths. And let's do a little bit of box breathing as one way to interrupt whatever it is and come back. So deep inhale. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. And then just let your breath do what it wants to do. You notice if you could move your body somehow, maybe move your shoulders around or let yourself get up and shake if you want. Just do something that will help to move your body. And look around the environment that you're in. What we do that for is to look and see the cues of safety. And part of it is also we could appreciate the environment that we're in, so that we have a secure place to sign on to the internet and connect with each other. We could look around and just notice what beauty might be in your eyes. Maybe it's something outside of the window, you can see nature, or maybe it's something that you really like in your own environment, a piece of art or picture of family or something. And notice the thoughts that might be coming up. And in particular, if there's any kind of overwhelming, this is too big, that kind of thought. I didn't know how bad it was. I feel so horrible that I've been so disconnected, or whatever that might be. Put some of those thoughts like they're written out into a frame on the other side of the room and look at them over there and just see there's a lot here. I feel responsible, I feel guilty, or I feel shame. And it's true, I haven't seen as clearly as I'm seeing right now. And what I'm seeing is hard to see. And put those into a frame. Don't let them take up your whole visual field. And notice what else is on the wall over there. There might be pictures or a window, or let yourself go from focusing on the words to broadening your perspective. Let the words get kind of blurry and see what else is around. And then come back to focusing. Go back and forth a few times. And take a few deep breaths. Let your shoulders soften again. Let your belly soften. And then let's look at something that's a little bit different. So if you were to say, I'm willing to feel what's here. Just notice what your response is to those words. I can let this in. And they might not feel 100% true, and that's fine. Just notice what's your response. I'm willing to feel this. I'm willing to let it in. And my nervous system is probably going to bring up some defensiveness. That's fine too. And really stay connected with your feet, your seat, your breath. Keep your eyes open if that helps. So, one of the things that's important to stay stabilized is to not go into a shame storm. It's helpful for us. It doesn't feel good to go into a shame storm. And it feels like we're being overtaken by that sometimes. Sometimes the most courageous thing that we can do is to offer ourselves some kindness and compassion and coming back in and really letting our body be in our awareness and to allow ourselves to be kind with ourselves. When we have that overwhelm, when things are coming in and it feels like there's too much to do, I have to educate myself. I have to look at my own privilege. I have to work with my nervous system. And how can I do all that when I already feel so overwhelmed? So let's let that be here. But also, I can do my part. I want to do something. And doing my part is enough. That's actually all I can do. I can do my part, and I'm inspired and open hearted and really wanting to do this. I can do my part. And let that really settle into your body. I want to do my part. Doing my part is enough. And we might have a glimpse of an opening of where we'd start, or we might have a bit of a longer sense of that. It's not necessary to know all the details, just the connection in our heart. I'm letting this in, and I really want to do my part. Let yourself breathe. Let your body relax. Doing my part is enough, and it makes a difference. And notice your own courage, your own good heartedness. This is something you care about. And let yourself have that respect for yourself and that compassion for yourself. Connect with yourself. Doing my part is enough. And this is something we could come back to again and again. And we wrestle with it. What is enough? And we can't do this 24/7. We can't absorb ourselves in this all the time, or we get out of balance. Our nervous system can't function. So there's some place here, and it goes up and down, and that's for sure. An ongoing balancing act of letting in and feeling and being really nurturing the connection with ourselves, with other beings, with the world, and not being afraid to take in hard things because it's not going to take us down. We can stay stable and steady and loving and be on our own side. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.